10-year-old Kathy Collman disappeared on a cold day in January. When she was found, the entire community was torn apart. How could such a thing have happened in their little community? This is the story of a girl who got her revenge from the grave. Crothersville. A small town in Jackson County, Indiana, United States. Centrally located between Seymour and Scottsburg, with a population of just 1,500 people according to the 2010 population census, is a small unfriendly place to live in. Here, everyone knows everyone, there's just one public library, and children's classroom sizes are quite small. The people in the community have a bond and take care of their own, which makes the town generally peaceful. But the peace that existed in this community was disturbed on a cold winter day in 2005. In this small little town was a lovely little girl, Kathleen Collman. Born on August 13, 1994 in Seymour, Indiana, Kathleen Collman, fondly called Katie, was a lively little girl. Her parents Jonathan Neese and Angela Neese were known in the community and were friendly to all. She loved Disney Channel like all other kids her age. But her family was tight on money as her father worked at the local factory that didn't pay much. On the 25th of January 2005, Kathy got back from school. She lived with her mother, father, and older sister. When Katie got home that day, her mother was in the kitchen making dinner for that evening. Her father was still at work. At around 3 p.m. that day, her mother noticed they had run out of toilet paper. Angela asked her daughter Katie if she would go to the dollar store down the street to pick up some toilet paper. It was a trip Katie had made so many times and was used to making. The said dollar store was just a few blocks away from her home, and so although Katie was tired from school, she had no problem making the trip. Katie wrapped up warm as it was a particularly cold day, and she made her way down the street to the dollar store. When Katie got to the dollar store, she bought the toilet paper. And the clerk helped her count out the correct amount of money. When she left the dollar store, she stopped off at the bank next door to get a lollipop from their counter and made her way home. Back at home, Angela Neese noticed something. Katie was late, but this was not cause for concern. Sometimes, the girl met friends on the way and would usually lose track of time, playing with her friends, and was sometimes late because of this. However, when Katie's father, John, had already returned from work, and she still wasn't back, her parents began to seriously worry. They decided to find her with her father making his way to the dollar store and her mother remaining home to phone the houses of her friends. At the dollar store, the clerk confirmed Katie had been there and had bought the toilet paper, but she had left for home after that. Her mother also had no luck in finding her as none of her friends knew where she was. When they still couldn't get any leads on their own, they immediately called the police. For the police, this was a strange instance. How could a child go missing without a trace? The little town was so safe that children usually walked till late and their parents never had to worry. Also, there had been no serious crimes in the town for over 25 years. With this, they were positive that little Katie would soon be found. They set out to work, trying to reconstruct Katie's route that day. Several witnesses confirmed that they had seen Katie at around 4 p.m. walking back home. Volunteers joined in the search for the little girl. But it was as if the little girl had vanished into thin air. After 24 hours, the police started to believe she had been abducted and somehow taken out of the city. Police dogs picked up her scent and traced it to the railway tracks, but a neighbor told police that Katie had stopped off on her way home to let them know that their dog had been killed by a train. She went missing just after that. 2 days after Katie's disappearance, police got a break in the case. A woman called reporting to have seen Katie in a white pickup truck with a skinny white man driving. According to this person, Katie seemed calm. Armed with this information, police issued an Amber Alert to find the missing child. On January 30, 2005, 5 days after Katie's disappearance, her body was found in a creek near Cypress Lake, north of Seymour, a few miles from her home. Something blue had caught the attention of a patrolman, and when he stopped to get a good look, he noticed it was the body of a child. The missing child investigation turned into a murder investigation. Who had done such thing to the innocent little girl? There were no visible injuries on Katie's body, and so authorities had no idea how she had died. There was still no clue about who her killer might have been, and so the police were at a dead end again. 3 days after Katie's body was found, a 20-year-old man, Charles Hickman, turned himself in to the police. He claimed that he and a friend of his had been cooking meth in an abandoned house when Katie came in. They were scared she would tell on them, and so they grabbed her, tied her up, and took her to the lake. There, they took her to the edge of a cliff to scare her, but she accidentally fell into the water. Not knowing what to do, they left her there. He claimed he felt guilty, and that was why he was confessing. However, a couple of days later, results of the autopsy came and it told a different story. The examination showed that little Katie had been essayed. The traces of semen found didn't belong to Charles or his accomplice. Charles also denied having another accomplice and also denied the girl having been essayed. By now, the investigation had hit a brick wall. Everyone was under suspicion, even Katie's father. The police took dozens of samples, trying to find a match, but none was found. Thankfully, there was one more thing police had up their sleeves. A cigarette butt was found. The DNA on this matched the DNA of the person who essayed little Katie. The brand of the cigarette was also not one popular among the locals. Only a few shops in town sold it. They alerted the stores that sold it to let the police know if someone purchased it. A week later, police got the long-awaited call. A store clerk confirmed that a man recently dropped in to buy the said brand of cigarettes. Also, this man drove a white pickup truck, the same type Katie was last seen in. Police was able to determine that the said pickup truck belonged to 39-year-old Anthony Stockelman. They had questioned him early in the investigation when he claimed he had only seen the little girl but hadn't interacted with her. When they got to his house, they found multiple cigarette butts that were the same as the one found at the scene. He was forced to give police a DNA sample which was a match to the traces of semen found. Police were able to put together what happened on that fateful day. Anthony Stockelman was in the area transporting things from his mother's house, which was located along the path little Katie walked. It was determined that the 40-year-old father of two lured the little girl into the house. There on the beds, he essayed her. The threads found on her body confirmed she had been in Anthony's mother's house. After doing that, he tied her hands and put her in the car, driving to the lake where he threw her off the cliff. He watched as she fought for her life while smoking a cigarette. He made a deal with the prosecutor to plead guilty, and in exchange, the prosecutor won't seek the death penalty. On the 20th of April 2006, Anthony Stockelman was sentenced to life in prison. But his punishment wasn't over yet. At the prison where he was serving his sentence, someone else was there. Serving time at the same prison was Katie Collman's 22-year-old cousin, Jared Harris. He was contented with the sentence Anthony was given and wished for something more. On the 22nd of September 2006, Jared entered Anthony's cell, threatening him with a sharpener to compel him to obey. Anthony obeyed. An hour later, Jared left Anthony's cell, leaving him with a huge tattoo on his forehead reading Katie's revenge. Although this couldn't bring Katie back, Jared wanted Anthony to be branded as what he was: a murderer. When the news broke, a doctor agreed to remove the tattoo from Anthony's forehead at no cost. To be honest, I wish he had been left with it his entire life. Little Katie was a lovely girl who had been surrounded by nice people all her life. Unfortunately, she believed all humans were good people. May her soul continue to rest in peace. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Also, turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload a new video.